gentlemen, I feel it a great honor that I have been asked by Mr. Raghavan to release the revised book that has been written by Mr. Raghavan. Let me start by congratulating Mr. Raghavan for his work, which is being formally released today. I believe this has been updated. The earlier publication was done 6 years back, and I'm sure the updating has been quite useful. It is said that we can choose our friends, but not our neighbors. I think this is an old adage, and it is more so in international politics. India and China have been the holders of great civilizational legacies that mankind has known. Well, we have also had good neighborly relationship over a period of time. But the relationship became a bit uncertain and at times very hostile. As a result of which, today we stand at the threshold. They culminate in certain border conflicts, but we continue to engage each other with a sense of trying to mend our fence.
The center or this? The center one? Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah. Dr. Sharma, what do you have to say about the book launch you're here today for Dr.
Yeah.
Raghavan?
Hi, I'm Dr. Sharmila here, and it has been a very special moment and an honor to attend this book launch, Dividing Lines by Dr. Raghavan. Being a doctor, I would just like to add that it was definitely a very different experience, and also I have a lot of respect and lot of goodwill towards somebody who's really following his passion. It's always a pleasure to hear somebody and get inspired by someone who's started as a doctor and then he's following his passion, because I believe that's what life is about and that's what we all should be following. So just want to congratulate Mr. Raghavan on attending and touching a very sensitive and important topic about the Indo-China relationship and what happens around the border. And it was also a great pleasure attending the launch where we got to see Mr. Boney, Kapoor and Tabu doing the unveiling of the book. So congrats Mr. Raghavan, and all the best.
जी जी
So what would you like to say about the book?
It's a good book. Everybody should read. ऐसी चीज़ें पढ़नी चाहिए ताकि जो हमारी अगली जनरेशन उनको पता चले कि अतीत में क्या हुआ। बाकी ये बोलेंगे।
सी जो 1962 इशू था वो बहुत बड़ा इशू था और इंडिया के लिए तो मैटर ऑफ प्राइड रहा है। हम उसमें क्या चीज़ सीख सकते हैं और क्या चीज़ वहाँ से सीखने के बाद हमारी आर्मी ने अपने अंदर डेवलप की, ये एक बड़ा इशू था। और आज इसके ऊपर बुक आई है तो ऑफ कोर्स एवरीबॉडी शुड 100% स्टडी द बुक और पढ़ के पता लगेगा। अभी मैं भी बुक को पढ़ूंगा, लेकिन जो मुझे राइटर के विचार लगे दोज वर सो ब्यूटीफुल, लगता है कि बुक बहुत अच्छी होगी।
So GST इसके बारे में आपका क्या विचार है?
किस-
GST आके 1 साल हो गया, इसके बारे में आपके क्या विचार है?
सी वन टैक्स वन कंट्री अच्छा रिफॉर्म है और मैं तो हमेशा से ही इसके पक्ष में था। पिछली कुछ गवर्नमेंट से नहीं हो पा रहा था, अब की बार हुआ है तो और अच्छा है। इट्स गुड फॉर द ग्रोथ ऑफ कंट्री। GST इज़ गुड।
तो आप ऑथर को कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे अपनी तरफ से?
कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशन बब्बू जी देंगे, बब्बू जी की
बधाई हो,
शुभकामनाएं।
लिखते रहें, ऐसी चीज़ें लिखते रहें, अच्छा है, बहुत
हाँ जी,
अच्छा।
हमारी तरफ से कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस हैं और इस तरह की चीज़ें आएंगी तो ये लिटरेचर क्या है कि आपको गाइड करता है, तो आना चाहिए। इन वेरी मच कांग्रेट्स टू देम।
थैंक यू सर।
This idea came up because I was interested on the subject and I found that there is very little literature on the subject which is easily accessible to a common man. Most of the accounts that were written carried with it certain biases, and there was a lot of misinformation spreading around on the topic. It was a very simplistic explanation like what was the reason for the conflict. People tend to blame it on the treacherous act by China. People tend to blame it on the inefficiency or partisanship of the then Defence Minister Krishna Menon, which I thought was too simplistic. So actually I got time to read about the topic about 10 years back, and then once I read up I found that there are a lot of misinformation actually going on in the field. So I thought I should jot down the points, and then it took the shape of a book. Idea is to see the facts, offer the facts in a language which is simple where people like me can understand that.
So what is the highlight, if you have to talk about the highlight of the book, the USP of the book, what would you want to say and how long did it take for you to actually pen it down?
So the USP of the book is quite simply, it is a narrative which tackles the whole problem of the border dispute, right from the legacy days of the British Empire, right through the period between the independence and the war and the post-war this thing. And the updated edition that is coming is because the first edition was brought out in 2012 and it got a fairly good response. So there's a stream of thought that the events that took place post the war, after 1962, which have a bearing on the events of today, should also be penned out. So that was a reason for this updated edition coming out.
Okay, Tabu is coming to the book launch. Is there any reason or any special thing about it that you
People in the panel discussion and people on the board today launching the book, if you could share more details on that.
So the External Affairs Minister, former External Affairs Minister Krishnaji is coming. Then the people who are, other people who are coming are all people who are experts on the topic of China. They are all part of think tanks where the functioning of China, the relations between India and China, the bilateral relations, the other factors that have effect on the bilateral relations. These are people who study the topic on a daily basis. These are actually professionals who study the subject very seriously and very in depth. I'm a very amateur person, so my view is basically the view of a layman. And actually, we all learn a lot by listening to them, because they are people who know more about the subject.
So GST completes 1 year in July. What are your thoughts about it?
It is something which has started 1 year back. In 1 year, the first year is the most difficult one. We had a period where government actually took down the difficulties and made a lot of concessions so that life of the industry was easier. Looking back, it's a year of satisfaction, but there's a lot of work ahead also.
So juggling between two professions, which one do you find the most, engaging out of both?
No, this is a work of passion. The other is a job.
So how much time do you devote to your passion? I mean, obviously writing a book is not easy. It takes months and days and, a lot of time goes into it. So how do you balance that?
It's, as you said, it's a passion, it's a hobby, so I make sure that I devote at least 2 hours a day to reading. And writing is part of that. So I enjoy doing that.
Talking about your favorite chapter in the book, if you would want to talk about it, which should really, it was intriguing and was, most, you have your favoritisms every time. So what was at one point that you think?
You asked me the most difficult question of sort, because the whole book is a labor of love. So from page 1 to the last page, I love all the pages. if you look at one particular, it's very difficult to come out with one particular page, but I would say the chapter on forward policy is something which is closest to my heart, because it was